A lot of people who have made it in life will tell you that nobody owes you anything. Not your uncle, not your father, not your wife, not your children, nobody else. You owe yourself a great debt, and you owe yourself the responsibility to do what is right by you. And that comes to what we call personal development. A lot of people complain about the state they are in because their people did not help them. And some of them, like we were saying earlier on, they blame village people for that. But it's not all the time that you blame village people. You need to have personal development. So we're lucky to have in the house today a young and enterprising man who will be talking to us about this personal development, being someone who has experienced this himself. He's a young author and graduate of the University of Ilorin. And the book that he titled is Crossing Limits. He's also a public speaker. Please welcome Mr. James Popoola, author, Crossing Limits. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to be here this morning, and I'm grateful for this privilege, and I am happy to be here once again.
Yeah, they did say that you're a public speaker, so you're making plenty sentences, but they didn't say you were a motivational speaker. So sometimes motivational speaking, a lot of people do not even believe in them anymore. They tell you, I started my business with 3 seeds of granite. Today I'm a millionaire, and all that, and they'll explain. Is that true? Anyway, but you have gone the journey, and let's not even talk about the fact that you have written books. Let's just get to hear, how has your journey been that has brought you to this point?
Okay, so my journey started immediately after I finished my secondary school. I attended Angos Memorial High School. And
where is that?
At Shomolu. So it's a place where kind of students, young people majorly, they are known for engaging in different activities that are not really good, and people maybe engage in smoking and all. So I just found myself that this is not the place I want to be, and so I challenged myself to go into UNILAG to attend conferences, summits that were meant for undergraduates, even while I was just a fresh, maybe like secondary school certificate holder.
Okay, but what is it that triggered you? Because there must have been an incident that made you think twice about being where you were and you needed to move.
Okay, so also immediately I finished my secondary school, I had the privilege of attending a program called the CEO Apprentice. So I was reading a newspaper one day and I saw the phrase CEO Apprentice. I'm like, how can a CEO be an apprentice? So it was actually organized by the Business Day Nigeria. And when I attended, I met a guy who told me that he was from Ajegunle. I'm like, are you serious? Because the guy didn't look like it, because the vision of who lives in Ajegunle was different from what I saw in the guy. His name is actually Joshua Erute. And he inspired me. I'm like, so even people in places that are worse than Abule Jesha, where I grew up, are doing a lot of stuff, and they are very, very proud going out to say this is where I'm from. So that's what really inspired me.
Okay. So how were you able to personalize, just try to engage with yourself and saying, I want to develop myself, and personal growth? Were there like habits and rituals and stuff that you had to put in place? Because
no money ritual though.
Yes, yes.
Because obviously there are people who say, oh, I want to be better, but then you're not putting the work to be better. There are certain things that you have to do, certain steps you have to take to become a better person for you to develop yourself. So what are like those things that you have to put in place for you to become a better person?
Okay, so things I consider that makes me better are the normal daily routine that everyone who aspires to achieve more with less would definitely do. So each time I wake up to give the respect to God, and that's my devotion. And after that, mine is to plan what my day will look like, plan what my week would look like. But most importantly, I learned diligence, I learned excellence, I learned many things from my daddy, my uncles who were entrepreneurs. So I saw these attributes being played out in them. So, and I saw how they were able to like play it big and not small, because nobody identifies anything small. Only great people are being celebrated. People who are shy and want to do small things are not being seen. So I really gain my motivation from what they do, and I see that I can't afford to cheat myself by staying behind and not doing anything. So daily, I push myself into taking action. The word take action is very, very dear to my heart. And most times, I even like words or brands that tells me take action. So that's why I like the word just do it.
Just
So
do it.
that's what motivates.
Okay, because when you say you like you saw people who did it big and nobody who does it small is being noticed and all that. Some people might think that you're talking about, having so much before you can begin. But, it is the little things that you needed to do that we're
Yes.
really interested in, because you said doing big things with less.
Yes.
Something like that, that's what you said. So
Yes.
these little things, for someone who is dragging their feet somewhere, because they feel that they don't have an uncle that can sponsor them, they don't have this and that. First of all, how did you even put yourself through school? Was it yourself, or was it your uncle, or was it your father? How did it happen?
All right, so I would say that I did not mean you have to be a big, you have to start big that way. So why I use that, because most times we believe that we don't have the resources that we need, but the resources that we need at that particular moment is within our reach. We just have to pay attention to our environment. That's one thing that I see, that young people do believe that they want opportunity, not knowing that the opportunity that they need is in the present moment that they are. So I push into ensuring that I utilize the opportunity I have. So about how I was able to go through school, so I enjoyed a lot of freebies. Freebies like, okay, I stayed in Abule Jesha, and maybe the Redeemed Christian Church of God is doing a free training at Ebute Meta for undergraduate and for students. So as at SS2, I leave from Abule Jesha to go down just to attend, even when it was not open to SS2 students. It was majorly for SS3 students. So I had this energy that was being present in people around me in my school. So my school, I had guys who go to school every Saturday. So I saw how people really take attention and how they took action. So that really also helped me. And really, it's also nice to also reach out to people for help, not being parasitic anyways. It's always good to offer value, because value, we always respond to value. So if people are not willing to give in value, the work and what it needs, they can't get what they are aspiring to.
Okay, I love that. I love the fact that you said value responds to value. So definitely you have to put value in yourself. You need to get everything that you can for you to move to the next step, and that way people see your value and they're like, yes, we can recognize this and we know that this person has done the work. Okay, so what are the work? I know reading is imperative, and I'm sure you know that, okay, it's reading and the things that the trainings you've been to that have actually helped to shape you into the person that you are now.
Yes.
But for someone who's watching, right, and they're thinking, how do I even start? What are the ways you can tell them this is where to go, or this is the channel through which you can now achieve all the things that you want to achieve, that you've set for yourself?
Okay, so for someone who feels like, how do I start from here? So you said the journey to greatness is actually far. However, you can start from where you are. So you need to start from where you are with what you have. So you have access to technology, you have access to many resources.
Yeah.
So just go on YouTube. YouTube is a university on its own. However, YouTube content should not only be relied on. So one should also push into finding ways through which you can also acquire specialized knowledge. I always say, go for specialized knowledge. General knowledge is open to everybody, But if you need something deeper, you have to go for specialized knowledge. We have the likes of people who are willing to do training. So attend those trainings if you can afford it. If you can't, you can request for scholarship and you'll be given, because everybody in this life has gotten an opportunity that changed their life, because one opportunity can change the course of anybody, anytime, anywhere.
Fantastic.
Why didn't you just add motivational speaker here?
I know, right? Because of all the quotes you're dropping.
This is really what motivational
Okay,
speech should be. But so we like it. I'm not saying there should be a comment on that. We like the fact that you're talking like this and the confidence you're exuding. Be present when the opportunities are there. Just be present. It's a very key thing. You were attending seminars when you were not invited.
Yes.
You're crashing parties and everywhere. Just making sure that you learn something. And this is what we don't take seriously. That things that can just pass you by. Say, after all, that's not for me. Some people, I know of a guy who was learning through the window. He didn't have the opportunity to go to school. And then he ended up being the one doing assignments for the people that were in school. And then that's how, at some point, they began to give him some money for the assignments he was doing for them, and then he put himself through school. So things like this happen. Just be present where you are. But before we leave, we're interested also in the fact that young man like you, you've written a book and you titled it Crossing Limits. This is one of the things that just captured our attention. Why would you write Crossing Limits? What are the limits that we need to cross? Let's first of all know the inspiration behind this book.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. The book Crossing Limits is actually my first book. And
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I launched it in July.
So many of them.
First among several others. Yes.
Fantastic.
So what inspired me to write the book was actually the fact that people don't know how I started my journey. So when they see me on the ground, they see my picture, they believe, oh, this guy is actually a guy with a golden or diamond spoon, if there's any word like that in his mouth. So, and I believe that it's good to inspire others even while growing to achieve more. That's why I had to say they can achieve more with less. So they believe, the limiting beliefs that hold us back are actually created by our mind. So, and the mindset of every individual is what makes the person stand during trials or challenges. So, and in this book, I talked about how one can overcome procrastination. I talked about how one can maintain a relationship with a mentor, because having a mentor should not be for short time. It should be a long-term goal, because the person you are learning under is trying to put you into the situation where he or she has gone through. So I talked about how knowledge is very vital and how we need to go for knowledge. That's a chapter of the book. I also talked about how it is important for one to be grateful for wherever one is. If you're at any stage in your life, you need to be grateful for that stage before you move to another. Because gratitude is a key that unlocks many gates, many doors, and many rooms. And if one is not grateful, one can access those things. Just like the normal Yoruba adage, that if they give somebody one thing and the person is grateful, the person will receive more. And there's a way you give me a present, maybe something, and then I'll come back and I'm thanking you. You'll be like, what have I done that big? But the way you now do it will make one to feel, wow, this is really a lot. So, and a lot of things I wrote in the book. I also shared my experience of the environment that could have limited me, but then I was able to see beyond the limits of my environment by ensuring that I cross my limits.
Interesting.
Still crossing
the limits.
I went to church yesterday and they were talking about the talents, the parable of the talents, where the one was given 5, the other one 2, and the other one 1. And the one that was given 1 went and buried it. I'm sure a lot of us are burying our talents like this. And if we bury it, like they say, it's either you use the brain or the brain leaves you. You can't reason anymore. You can't use it anymore if you leave it idle for a long time. And that's where all our talents lie, in our brain. And the ability to use it is key. We wish that we can have more time to talk with you, but I think the few minutes we've been together.
It's been quite insightful.
Yes, anybody who is watching, especially the young ones who want to make it in life, but they don't want to put in the work, I hope that they will have a different mindset this morning.
Yes.
So we'd like to thank you so much,
Thank you.
James, for coming on.
Thanks
the
so
program
much
this
for
morning.
having me.
Thank you, and thanks for the book. I read parts of it last night.
Wow.
Yes, I was up to 1 a.m. reading, and it's quite an interesting read. I saw your Kairos moments, I saw all the other things, and I like the fact that you have like reflective questions at the end of each chapter. So I would continue reading the book, and yeah, congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
It's my pleasure.
So ladies and gentlemen, do yourself a favor and try to cross the limits. And this is where we're going to wrap it up on the show this morning. Until we meet again tomorrow, my name is Nyamguru Agaji.
My name is Brume Paulson. Have a good day.